Okay, so I'm not gonna try and claim that Excalibur is meta or extremely good or anything like that, and this isn't really gonna be a build guide. I guess maybe it will be. I just want to show this interaction that nobody seems to really use, and I don't know why, but regardless of that, I'll show you what I mean. So, for builds that use Exalted Blade, usually people resort to armor stripping externally through primers or companions even, and a lot of people forget that there's a way to do it with just your Exalted Blade, which it may not be as effective. As you can see, it's not great, but it's still an option that I don't really see anyone else using. So, as you can see, I mean, it works. It's base steel path, a little bit over, I guess, but it's base enemies, and it was working to some degree. Okay, it's not great, but it was working. Now, that was only with 3 mods. Right, okay, and 2 Archon shards. You need these for obvious reasons. But 3 mods. Nothing on this either. No companion, no weapon buffs, just 3 mods, 2 Archon shards. Now, is using a synergy between Chromatic Blade and Archon Continuity. In case you don't know, this lets you pick a element with your emissive color, like Chroma. I used to be, kind of. And it removes IPS and puts that element on your Exalted Blade. As you can see, I picked Toxin, green Toxin. And this makes it so that Toxin status effects will also apply Corrosive, which is where the armor strip comes from. Basically, with these 2 shards, I'm able to full strip with Corrosive procs because I'm at the 14 cap, which is what you need to full strip with armor or with Corrosive. And this is just for base damage, because without this, you're not going to be doing much damage. As you saw, I wasn't even doing much damage, and with this, I was barely doing damage. So, with that in mind, theoretically, Excalibur could work with just these 3 things and these 2 Archon shards. That's all you really need. Now, it wasn't great, like I said before, but imagine putting together an actual build. I mean, okay, before I say that, I'm not an Excalibur player. I don't really know Excalibur like that, and I wouldn't really consider this a great build. It might be, but I don't play this character, so if you just put something decent together, like this isn't even fully built, if you put something decent together with that same idea in mind, Archon Continuity, Chromatic Blade, Toxin on here, Exalted Blade, and 2 Archon shards, 2 green shards, in order to do that again, you would see that it is much more effective. Much more effective. I mean, I'm killing them before they're even armor stripped, so you won't really be able to see that. Not until you get to way higher levels, which most people wouldn't do anyway, but this is kind of also showing that you don't need an armor strip with Excalibur at these lower levels. The only time you really would is if you're going to much higher level content. And another thing to keep in mind is that this is also without a companion. So ignoring Excalibur's flaws, obviously he's not really good at surviving, at least to most people, which it makes sense. He doesn't have any abilities that help him do that. But if you're to equip a Sentinel or something that has Guardian and Manifold Bond, I don't have Guardian on. Okay, interesting. Well, if you had problems with survivability, then obviously Guardian's here. And with Manifold Bond, on a priming Sentinel like the Riga with Arc Coil, here's the build in case anyone's wondering. That would complete that with 1. That would boost your damage through Condition Overload. But that would also add survivability through Guardian, shield gating. Another thing you could do, obviously, was just Reefer Spike, catalyzing shields if you wanted to survive. That way, you could, but even this adds tons more damage. And it's, again, I'm not trying to make a meta build or anything here, but for, I imagine, 90% of people, this will work, and you will survive off of this, because Guardian will be keeping your shields up, and Manifold Bond will be lowering that cooldown, as long as you're killing things that are primed, obviously. And even on top of all that, you have or Howl still. For some CC, you know, it's not the greatest, but it still exists. And yeah, that's about it.